Alright, here we go. It's time for another review. The Oscar quest is really getting close to the halfway point now. I should say over the halfway point. Sorry. We are, or I am, I should say. If we, meaning my fans who follow this, who are about like 3 people, so, okay, are about, yeah, 5/9 of the way through now, the Oscar quest. As far as a review of Argo, which I have already seen, crap. I'll either have to wait for it to come out on DVD, and I think it'll be out on DVD actually like a week before the Oscars, if I'm right on that. If not, then I'll, from the best of my memory, I'll do a review of that before Oscar time, and then, let's see, 5/9 is a really good number though, and it's a good movie too, but that's a different review, sorry. Okay, let's get to Zero Dark 30. Kathryn Bigelow, I have to say first, I have not seen The Hurt Locker, not all the way through. I saw about the first hour of it, and then I had to, I think I had to leave, do something that night. Never got back to it, had to get it back the next day, but the first hour I liked. And I thought Jeremy Renner did a really good job in the first hour of that movie. I don't know about the rest of the movie, but she won the Academy Award for that, and it won Best Picture and all that, so it must have been good. Now, Zero Dark 30, as far as reviews go, is actually a little bit weaker, but The Hurt Locker, I think, was almost a revolutionary film when it came out. You know, never before had, basically an action picture won Best Picture like that. At least not a modern war-centered action picture. At least not since, I don't know. Yeah, God knows when. But, probably back to the 40s, 50s, somewhere in there. I don't know. Well, you know. Probably Bridge on River Kwai. Why did I say Bridge over River Kwai? That sounds ridiculous. Yeah, that's a great spoof, I'm sure. Yeah, David Lean would appreciate that. Okay, Zero Dark 30. Now that we've strayed as far, Kathryn Bigelow did a really great job with this project. It was an interesting and a daunting project. And she pulled it off like it was nothing. I mean, the film is long, and at times it seems a little tedious, and at times it seems quite repetitive. But then again, when you think about it, so was the actual manhunt for Osama bin Laden. I mean, 10 years spent trying to find this guy after he'd attacked us, and all that. And it's wonderfully set up in its first, probably first 45 minutes before he gets to the 2007, 2008, 2009 kind of days, where it seemed like the trail was starting to go cold, and then it picked back up again. And that's really well illustrated in the screenplay. But there's a whole lot of good stuff to go around in this movie. But I guess, boy, where do I start with this? I mentioned Kathryn Bigelow. I wanted to get her out of the way. I can see why people were saying it was a total blowout when she wasn't nominated. It was one of the best directed films I've seen of the year, definitely. Spielberg did a great job. Ang Lee did a great job on their projects. Ben Affleck did fantastic. She did very good. And probably added on to that list, crap, where do I go from there? Maybe Christopher Nolan, I don't know. It's a long list after that, but boy, this was some good stuff. Okay, I guess we'll start at the beginning then. The beginning was it's a little tough to watch, actually. Not just the torture stuff, but the first 2 minutes or so of the film are completely black, and all you hear are 911 calls on the they're not as far as I know, they're not real 911 calls, but on the day of the attacks, September 11th, and you feel right away the recharge that you need for this film, which is you want to, just from hearing innocent lives just being lost instantly, you want whoever did this, whoever's responsible for this, to pay. No matter what country you're from, no matter what they did, no matter how many are dead, you want the person who did it to pay. You do not want to see them get away with it. It's ridiculous if they do. So yeah, that kind of recharges our batteries as an audience, and now we're set for the film. We're back where we were close to 10 years ago now. Over 10 years ago now, I should say. which was the first thing we wanted to do was get Al-Qaeda and just butcher them, you know, for everything they did to us and all the, you know, the attacks. As Mark Strong, I believe his character says at one point, they've attacked us by land, they've attacked us by sea, and now they've attacked us by the air, and we haven't done a bleeping thing. Yeah, that was his speech there. It was toward the middle of the film. It was right before the halfway point, actually. It was really, really good stuff. Mark Strong, I think, is a really underrated actor these days. He did a good job. The whole cast was just excellent all the way around. So I guess I'll get to that now. Okay, get the big one out of the way. Jessica Chastain, the leader of this immense cast of a lot of recognizable names, a lot of people who, kind of like in Lincoln, seem to have these small roles of like 3 lines and then they're out. Here, some of them are really, really increased. So Jessica Chastain led this cast and beautifully created this character who starts out a little, you know, you can tell she's got the toughness to her, but she doesn't physically show it, not yet at least. And she has this really kind of slightly squirmish quality about her, and we don't really, I don't want to say don't like that, but we just, we can kind of slightly relate to it a little bit. And then we get the opposite side of that coin, who is Jason Clarke, who did a phenomenal job as well. And of course I didn't recognize him before this, but yeah, and he's the guy who flat out tells them, you know, if you lie to me, I will hurt you. You know, if you don't answer me, I will hurt you. You know, you're gonna wish you had answered. You're gonna wish you told the truth, or whatever. Yeah, says to the first guy, Amar, I believe was his name, and that's the big torture scene at the beginning. You know, the waterbed and all that. Yeah, all the controversial stuff. It went over. You know, it happened. The audience I was with didn't really. You know, nobody left the theater. You know, upset by it. Nobody was, you know, particularly like angry, crying, anything like that. All the stuff that all these like senators and big political hotshots are, you know, persecuting Catherine Bigelow in her film for. It happened. It was part of the story. It had to be in there. And if it was weakened, if it was, you know, because I don't have a better phrase, sorry, pussified this whole thing of the torture, then it wouldn't have been as effective. Really, we needed what we got in those torture scenes. It really is essential, and it's beautifully directed, or not, I shouldn't say beautifully directed, but it's it's directed in just the right way to where it doesn't become too inhumane. We understand, we see why they're doing it, because it is effective on the person being tortured, and it's effective for the people who are torturing because they get their information, or at least most of the time they do. Yeah, and Jessica Chastain's performance as the movie continues grows. She starts out as a person who, I could tell right away she was doing a fantastic job, but as the movie just continued, and we're getting closer and closer to the point where she's gonna catch him, Osama bin Laden, boy, her character just hardens and hardens and hardens, becomes this rock-solid CIA agent, just hell-bent on getting Osama bin Laden, to the point where she's, you know, angrily yelling at her superiors like as if they're small children who, you know, spilled their milk or something. And it's immensely enjoying just to watch that, just to see we have a new, you know, leading lady who's right now has the slight edge over Jennifer Lawrence to win Best Actress at the Oscars on the 24th, which is just under a month away. And personally, I haven't seen Silver Linings yet, so I can't tell you about who I think deserves it, but just based off tonight, Chastain would be a well-deserved win. She really does a great job with this. And her performance, her character, everything is in check. Even though her character has a little less to do by about the last third or so of the movie, her dialogue and her screen time, I should say, stays about the same. So yeah. Jason Clarke, I thought, did a tremendous job. He was pretty funny, actually, at times. And then, of course, when he got serious and he was talking to the people who he was going to torture or is torturing, he got his serious game face on, and it was good stuff from him. Overall, he just did a fantastic job. Same goes for Joel Edgerton. I think I got his name right. He was from Warrior. I haven't seen Warrior yet, but I heard he did good work in that as well. He played the team captain who leads the raid in the last half hour or so of the movie. And by the way, I'll get to the raid here in a little bit, but that raid, man, that was fantastic stuff. And not just because it's the closest we get to a big action scene in the film, and that pumps up the audience, but because it's been 2 hours. We're ready to go get Bin Laden now. We're ready to actually see his murder. We're ready to see that, and to an extent, we want to see that. And then they do a nice thing at the end, and it's I'll get to that later. And of course, as far as spoiler alerts go, come on, people! Everybody knows how this movie ends. God, what they're gonna do a trick ending where, oh my God, it wasn't Bin Laden, and all that. Yeah, right. He's resting right now in about 500 pieces on the ocean floor because his body's disintegrated from the pressure. His head's exploded. What's left of his head's exploded. His brains are floating, and the sharks have already eaten it. So, get over it. Yeah, I think there's in the supporting cast some really good performances as well. Kyle Chandler did a good job. He was the superior guy. Mark Strong was another superior-like guy, and all sorts of stuff from across the board just with supporting actors. I can't think of the girl's name or the actress's name, but the character who kind of seems like she's going to be the best friend of Jessica Chastain, and she's kind of one of the smarter agents. She's a girl agent. Her performance was tremendous, but she didn't have a whole lot to do by about midway through. She was kind of, well, I won't spoil that part for you, but yeah, when that happened, boy, there are some jump scares actually in this film, and not horror jump scares, but action jump scares, good stuff, like a sudden explosion happens or something. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay, it's late, so my allergy pills are wearing off. So I'm trying to keep this review as short as possible because it is late and I do have a busy day here this next coming week, so I'll try to keep this short. Let's see, but there's still a lot to say though. Crap, just like my Life of Pi review. Boy, where do I go from here? The screenplay by Mark Boal, who if I am correct, also wrote the screenplay for Hurt Locker. Boy, what a great job he did on this screenplay. This screenplay was fantastic. The dialogue was smart. Jason Clarke, all his speeches were fantastic. Jessica Chastain's lines were spot on. The pacing was great, despite the fact that it's 2.5 hours long. The 2-hour, film basically before the raid, which could be its own film basically, and it apparently has been. There's like a Netflix thing I haven't seen yet, but the 2 hours before it are actually really, really well paced and as entertaining. I mean, it's not like a film where you start it, you show the first 20, 40 minutes or whatever, and then your small audience loses interest, and then you say, okay, let's skip to the end, and then you watch the end over and over again or something, and it fills up the time. No, this is a film that you start, and you have to watch it to the end, and you don't skip anything. And if you do skip anything, then you're going to miss something. Like the whole, what was his name, Abu Ahmed or something? Yeah, his whole thing and how they trace him, it's all like a step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4 to finding Osama bin Laden guidebook or something. It's really, really interesting, at least, to show kind of the method of how they find somebody who has, seemingly disappeared, just flat out is gone. I love that stuff. I love that kind of slightly murder mystery, except we know he's alive, obviously, still, at this point, and of course by the end he's dead, so whatever. But boy, yeah, there's some great stuff in this screenplay. And right now it's a battle between him and Quentin Tarantino for who's going to win at Oscar night, but I haven't seen Django Unchained yet. based off tonight, the 2 screenplay awards would go to Lincoln and Zero Dark 30. Great work across the board. And by the way, there were some things I felt connected to Argo, actually, through this film. Number one, probably the most obvious, the CIA. Both films are revolve around CIA agents and CIA operatives and operations and so on. Also, Kyle Chandler's in the cast in both. And William Goldberg, this is interesting, William Goldberg actually edits or co-edits both films. So yeah, it's no wonder it kind of feels like Argo, you know, more modernized. And except it isn't about a Iranian hostage situation, it's about the manhunt for Osama bin Laden. So yeah, it's kind of interesting how they're connected, and they both came out the same year, and they're both battling each other at the Oscars, and they both got the same snubs in the same categories, it seems like. The cinematography in Argo I thought was great. It didn't get a nomination. Zero Dark 30 didn't get a nomination for its cinematography. Argo didn't get a nom for Best Director. Neither did Zero Dark 30. It's like, how is this happening? And it's cool stuff. I mean, it can be hard to pick up on if you don't already have a background in this like I do. But boy, it's kind of cool how the Academy both recognizes that. In certain aspects that we say, crap, why didn't they show it for Best Director or for I don't know, Best Actor for Argo or Best Supporting Actor for Zero Dark 30 or whatever the case may be. Let's see. I guess I'll talk about The Raid now. Boy, that last half hour in the previews, it seemed like it was going to be okay, it's like they have the 2 hours of paperwork stuff. Actually, before I'd heard anything about what the actual story was going to be, and maybe just I didn't do enough background research into this, but from what I understood, it was going to be, okay, we start with the raid. We start with Osama with Bin Laden just being killed. And it's the first, 20 minutes of the film. Then we get to the background, which is, they just go in, they kill him, they have no idea, and then they try to find out if it is him, and it's, part of me thought, and I didn't really see any previews for it until, like, actually October, I think. I seriously, and maybe I'm the only person who thought this, and I'm so stupid for doing it, I thought it was going to be like a courtroom drama after the first 20 minutes. For like a 2-hour courtroom drama about them figuring out, is it Osama bin Laden or is it a stand-in or is it somebody that looks like him but isn't him? Because a lot of, people like over there look the same, and all that stuff. I don't know, maybe I just didn't do enough research into it, but the story they picked was great. And so yeah, this last half hour is based on the raid, and at this point, yeah, we're ready. The score by Alexander Desplat, who he could have been nominated for Best Original Score for this. He got it for Argo, which is nice, but yeah, the stuff when they're traveling in the helicopters and the music behind it, I was just like, I was pumped. I was like, oh yeah, this is getting serious now. And I think the mood of the film was weird because it's one of those rare films that I see in the theater where people don't, walk out saying, that was good, smiley face. Everybody's just, like, dead serious. And it's not a happy ending at all. Nor is it really an uplifting film. It's almost like a biopic. It almost feels like a biopic. And it almost feels like a documentary, sort of, at spots. And it almost feels like, like a narrative documentary, you know what I mean. And at times it feels like, a serious... a really serious, not drama, and not a fiction film, but just a retelling of this that's so factual and so based in reality that it's so hard not to, compare it to other things that are real, Like, if it's just like a documentary, yeah, I think I'll say no more about that. I think you get the point. But yeah, boy, this raid was intense. And from the first previews, I thought, and maybe it was just me and I was being stupid again, I thought, okay, well, they're going to have, okay, and then by that point I'd figured out what it was going to be. I was like, okay, so they're going to have like an hour and a half of building up to finding Bin Laden. Okay, we found him. and now they're going to spend 20 minutes on basically a basic match in Call of Duty or something. Modern Warfare. They're going to have a Modern Warfare ending, and it's going to be, they're shooting on both sides, and they have all the blah 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 jitter they talk about on the radio and stuff with their military talk. And I thought, why would Kathryn Bigelow do this? And then I saw the film. I was like, oh, she actually did it like like an actual military raid. Okay. And boy, that last half hour, I mean, people were starting to, it was starting to get really, really tense. Like, you could hear a pin drop in the theater. And, well, that might be true for a lot of films, actually, because a lot of people, when they go to the movie, they're there to see the movie. They're not there just to talk. But most of the movies, there's something going on when the theater is quiet. There's, like, people are talking or something. But here, it's solemnly quiet. There's no music. There's little sound except you hear like a few feet marching around. You hear some slight movements of like guns or stuff like that they're holding or stuff. And then when crap happens, and then when something goes off, you're jumped. You jumped. I mean, you're scared for a second. It freaks you out. It's good stuff, because that tells you that it's that it's set up well, at least. And that's either the director, credit goes to the director, or the screenwriter, or the actors. Probably all three in this case. But yeah, so then, and then they get back, and then, let's see, I have to talk about, before I get to this ending, which I thought was so good. This ending, like the last like 5 minutes of the film, I just wanted to, if Kathryn Bigelow were there, I would have gave her a big hug just for how great the ending of that film was. And not because it's a happy ending, but because it's a true ending. It's a true ending. I'll give him that. So this whole movie, this character of Maya, Jessica Chastain, has been just, balls to the wall. I'm going after Bin Laden. It's because of connections to him that my friends, fellow agents, are hurt. They're dead. All these people, in the 9/11 attacks are dead. Al-Qaeda's still alive because of him, and they're still, they're taking the fight to America. They show a little bit of the Times Square situation back in 2010, which scared me to death. I was just like, oh my God, here we go again when that happened. But then, actually, I kind of remember a little bit of the day I found out that Osama bin Laden had been killed. I think I was in, like, algebra class, and my teacher, oh, bless her heart, I won't say her name at all, but she said, the next day, actually, we came back, and she said, it's Osama bin Gone Day. And it was just so funny. Oh, man, that's good times in algebra class, believe it or not. They actually exist. And I remember Thor came out that week, and I was excited to see Thor, and then I heard about Osama bin Laden, and I was like, okay, cool, awesome. They got Osama bin Laden. It's something. And I never thought for 1 second what the character of Maya thinks when she finally gets Osama. She finally sees him up close, and he's dead. He's got, a bullet to his head, and he's got, a couple bullets to his chest, right around his heart. And he's not breathing. He's clean dead. He's been dead for about probably half an hour or so at this point in the movie. It's different. She realizes it doesn't matter who it is. She's taken a human life. And of course, a lot of people say, well, it wasn't a human life. Look at what this guy did. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you're talking about, whether you're talking about somebody who dies from a heart attack, somebody who dies from just old age, or you're talking about Adolf Hitler, a guy who, genocide, and all that. It's still a human being. They still have a soul. Whether or not it's been twisted or not is debatable, or, fact or not if it was twisted, but even if their heart wasn't in the right place, they're still a human being. And when she looks back and sees that she's done that, and she's spent 10 years of her life going after one man, and now he's finally dead, and she says, and she's just like, what am I going to do now? She's kind of dumbfounded by that. And I never thought about that. When I actually, in actuality, when Osama bin Laden died, I never thought, well, what does this mean for Al-Qaeda? That means their leader's going to get, they're going to get a new leader. And at first I was actually really, really scared because I thought they'd counterattack or something, but they haven't, not yet. But of course it could just happen right now and we wouldn't know about it. But boy, I'm telling you, there was some terror in my heart because I said, okay, we just got the guy who originally got us bad, and we got him. That's a bad thing for them too, kind of close to the same level. It would have been like if another Kennedy assassination would have happened, if another, if there was a big explosion in D.C. and some political leaders that people actually like were killed. Stuff like that. It would be bad for us. We would mourn. And Al-Qaeda is probably still mourning the death of bin Laden. And I'm not I probably, at this point, sound like a supporter of Al-Qaeda. No! No, I'm America all the way. Don't worry. I'm by no means a communist, or no means anything else you could accuse me of being. I'm pure American. I support America. I love America. I love our Army. I love our Navy. I love all our armed forces, and I love just our country in general. And I respect our country's defenses, and I respect our country's stories and our values and such. I'm not here to support Al-Qaeda by saying that bin Laden was a human being. No way. He was a human being, yes, but so are we. And we do some things that in our personal lives is as bad as what he actually did to end lives. And that's just our personal things, but yeah, and I never thought about that. And then in the last scene, she goes on board this plane, and she's the only person there, and she just kind of sits there and she's weeping because the guy she's wanted to get for 10 years is gone. She did it. But where does that leave her? She's never going to be credited for it, ever. Because, in this story at least, she's never going to be credited because she wasn't there to shoot him. She tracked him down. That's all people are going to say. She tracked him down. But she didn't kill him. And it's a kind of a sad, sad thing, too, when you think about it. And it's a total flip from when the movie begins. Now we feel not really sympathetic for bin Laden, obviously not, but we feel the sympathy of her character. We feel her pain in realizing, yes, we've wasted, not really wasted, but we've spent all this time centered on just murdering a human soul, a fellow human soul. Where does that leave us? What does that tell us about ourselves? That's something that's kind of scary, actually, when we think about it. Really, really think about it. But the way she was able to spend millions of dollars to go after one guy, I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And if you think about it, a regular businessman can kill somebody and not have to spend as much as 2 pennies on it. It's scary. It's scary as crap. But yeah, now off that solemn note, which is how the movie ends, rightfully so, though. Because that is the point of the movie, which is, okay, Osama's dead, but look at what we've done to do that. Look at how much we've spent. Look at, what we've done. How can we, improve from this? And that's the character, Maya, that's the question she needs to answer. And I would love to see her character grow, and of course there's not going to be a sequel to this by any means, unless there's some stupid plot twist where, no, it was the wrong, he's hiding in the closet, the people who were screaming, the women and children who were screaming at the death of their Al-Qaeda leader, were screaming at a body double or something, And he had prosthetics that were, glued onto his face, kind of like the Hannibal Lecter treatment or something. No way they're going to do that. Even if this film makes like $400 million domestically, which at this rate it won't. But it still is making good money, which is great for for Bigelow, because her next project, you know, she almost personally chose this project, and that's after winning a Best Picture and a Best Director. If you get that, if you get some Oscar wins and box office gold, you can pick anything you want, because people will say the go-to person will be Kathryn Bigelow. Or maybe this year it'll be, once again, Steven Spielberg, who hasn't won in how long now? He hasn't won a Best Director for 15 years, and he hasn't won Best Picture in 20. So that's quite a bit of time. Maybe he's overdue for it. But yeah, like I said the other day with my Life of Pi review, which I'm getting both of these reviews up at the same time, actually. So if you're watching the Zero Dark 30 review first, go back and find that. I mentioned this. On Oscar night, Lincoln right now is the front runner to win a whole bunch of categories. Best Actor, Director, Picture, Supporting Actor, Adapted Screenplay, and so on. I would deeply feel great for Lincoln, but it'd be more of a personal, heartfelt thing if Life of Pi snuck one of those awards, or a couple of those awards. And if Zero Dark 30 wins, I would feel really great for it too. So yeah, I think I'll end it right there. Zero Dark 30 was a 10 out of 10. I thought it was massively entertaining, so well acted, so well directed, that it's probably in the next few years going to be a film that people say is underrated, actually. Like I said, I can't really compare it to The Hurt Locker since I haven't seen The Hurt Locker all the way through. And I guess Kathryn Bigelow, whatever your next project is, I'm looking forward to it. And I'll do some research this time to figure out exactly what it is, where I don't suppose that the Osama bin Laden movie is going to be a court drama. God, I don't know where I was going with that, but okay. And I probably wouldn't see that movie if that had come out, even if it was nominated Best Picture. But whatever. Okay, now where do we go from here at the at my Oscar quest? Like I said, I'm going to be on vacation this next week. If I see a movie down there, it'll probably either be Django or Silver Linings. Those will be the two easiest to find. Amour will be very hard to track down. I probably won't get to that. Beast of the Southern Wild, I think it's on DVD, so I'll get a DVD copy of that and watch it and review it, and I think that'll be it. And then yeah, that'll be 9 after I do something with Argo. And that's yet to be determined. So, my Oscar quest is over halfway done, and I guess I'll sign off. Say I'll be watching you guys, hopefully watching these videos and watching this Oscar quest build up to its exciting climax, which I'll do on Oscar night after Oscars are over, even if it's 12 midnight. I'll do my Oscar reactions, and if there's any big surprises, any big losses that nobody expected, any tears, you know, whether it's from me or from the people on stage or behind stage or in the audience, whatever, I'll get my recap on that. But for now, Zero Dark 30, great film.